All right, so this back lot here is where we receive all of our steel and then also store all the machines that are ready to go out to the dealers and the customer pickups. We normally have about a steel truck, 1 or 2 steel trucks come in every day, and then 2 or 3, usually on average, semi-loads going out every week, and then other hot shot loads and customer pickups all the time. So normally this is pretty light, and we normally have like 2 or 3 deep, a row like 2 or 3 deep of machines that are done and ready to go. We just sent out 2 loads to Messick this week and another load out somewhere else this week as well. So kind of, yeah, inventory is getting kind of low back here. We'll have to make sure accounting knows that we're actually doing our jobs and getting stuff out of here. So these big tanks, those are for the laser cutter. So we got the small tank is oxygen. That's what we use for cutting real thick plate. And then the nitrogen is for cutting stainless and the thin sheet metal. And they come in with a semi and fill them both up as needed. So there's actually some telemetry on there that'll tell the oxygen service, hey, we need to refill these automatically, so we don't have to ever monitor those. These blue racks here, we have all these little cutout plates on them. Those for the new bolt-on beams, or like on the verticals and on the horizontal high output machines. We will stack all the beams on those and then send them to powder coat. And you see some of the new bolt-on beams for the high outputs on a set of those stands right now. These raw plates here, those are sub weldments for the IC16s, and you see one raw over there. The IC16s have been really popular. So I think we had planned on doing a couple of those a month, and it's been now about 12 or 15 of them a month. So yeah, it really took off. So going in here, we've got weld on one side and we've got the fabrication department on the other side. We'll go in through the fab side first, because that's where all the material goes in first. We'll kind of make a loop around the shop like we do with the machines. All right, so this is where we bring all of our material in here. We have all of our sheet metal, steel plate over on this side, and all of our tubing goes over here by the saw. We don't use the saw a whole lot anymore, not as much as we used to. Most of the stuff gets cut and formed out of sheet metal and plate. See, this bandsaw is hydraulic and it's auto feed. So we could set it to say, hey, we need to cut 100 pieces at 4 inches. This thing will do it, and like you just take them off. It'll auto feed and have pretty precise cuts on it. So it's been a good thing. And it'll handle like 2 foot by 20 inches. So it's a pretty big machine. But most of the stuff gets handled on our fiber laser here. If everybody wants to, you can take a look through the window. You can see it cutting right now.
Do a supplier bring your stock in, or do you guys got to unload your stock and bring it in?
We unload them. Yeah. They'll truck it here. Yeah. But yeah, then we'll unload it in the back and bring it in.
Good choice of cranes.
Yeah. Thank you.
30 years with them.
Nice. So right now this laser is cutting pieces for our sorting tables. There's no burrs on them. And that's ideally how everything comes off the table. You don't have to grind it. You basically, it's ready to weld. And a lot of this plate we use is pickled and oiled, so there's no mill scale. It doesn't have to be blasted or cleaned before weld or before powder. This will be ready to, basically ready, just about ready to paint. So, yeah, you see how many, there's 100 pieces of this item right in this row here. So, so it makes really nice cuts. We used to use like a plasma cutter, and everything had to be deburred, all kinds of scale on them. This thing makes really nice cuts. That was why we decided to go with a laser cutter. So, and this there's a interchangeable table. So when that one's done cutting, the tables will switch and it'll start cutting the next sheet. So, and you can actually have this programmed to cut after dark, after hours. So a lot of times, like tonight, they'll load up a sheet that'll take like 3 hours to cut. Let that cut while lights are off, so nobody has to stand here and watch it. So, from here, everything normally goes to the press brakes or over to weld. And the press brakes are pretty neat. These are pretty precise machines. These green machines back here will keep moving down a little bit. These two green machines do all of our bending. This one's a 230-ton hydraulic press, and that one's an 80-ton electric or hydraulic. So they have like a little faster cycle time for real thin sheet metal, just doing the electric, not the hydraulics. But if you ever needed to build a really big wood splitter, this guy would do it if you really had to. So, but this is a 12-foot press brake.
These the log tables.
These are part of the log lift, yep. And they get bent like 4 different ways. So, yeah, this is how it looks when it's flat, and then they'll hit here, folding it up this way, and then they'll turn it sideways, bend here and here. So, and then they'll be ready to go to weld. These are purchased for the springs for the VS and the high output machines. These are the plates we weld the pipe on for the jacks. So, but yeah, all pickled and oiled, nice clean finish, nice clean cuts from the laser. So, this machine right behind you guys, that's a time saver. So it's a belt sander that will put a brushed finish on stainless and whatnot if you need to, or if you have big burrs on stuff, you can run it through there to get the burrs off. So, from this area, then everything kind of will funnel in through weld. Most everything that gets cut or formed here will go through weld. We'll go over that way next. All right, so John is the resident senior welder here. He's 68 years old. And I worked with him back in probably in 1996. We were building bridges together. And needless to say, John's a hard worker. He's always kicking ass back here. And he does a lot of the small welds, like the log lifts, the sorting tables, the extensions, stuff like that. A lot of the sub weldments. Yep. And he's still kicking ass at 68 years old. So don't get in a fight with him. He's a rough son of a bitch.
Thanks,
What?
boss.
Don't mind my French.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah, why don't you take a break for a second?
I do that.
So John's making log lifts right here, and then Tony's making hydraulic tanks right behind us here. This is a lot where the small stuff gets welded. In here we'll do the wedges and whatnot, and then all the bigger stuff kind of gets done on the robot and then in the conveyor area. So this cell right here is the big robot. That's where we do all of our beams and our push blocks. And we actually do all the compact commercial and 28 Pro frames on the other side. But that robot has, it's what, a 5-axis, 6-axis, so the robot can be welding at the same time the table is rotating the part around. So if you're doing like pipes or something like that, you could be spinning the pipe around and welding all around at the same time. So it can move all different directions all at once. So, but yeah, the push blocks went from taking about an hour and a half for one guy to weld to going down to like 40 minutes. So, and then that robot doesn't need a bathroom break. So that's the good part. So, yeah, it's never off talking to its buddies or anything like that. So, yeah. Behind us here, that's the conveyor cell. We got these long fixture tables so we can keep those conveyors nice and flat and in line. And that's where we build the IC16s and all the FC conveyors. So let's see. We can kind of filter back this way and we'll go down to assembly next. All right, so the last part of the fabrication process, we can run any of the wedges or any of the machining we can run on this little mill. We normally outsource all the wings because we do so many of the wings and main wedges. These pieces here, we normally outsource those big ones or the ones that we do so many of. We only mill, you know, the things that we only need 10 or 20 of. We'll do that here. But we can do all the wings here if we need to. But we make, I think we make about 500 of this one part a month. So we normally will send that out to a machine shop that has a lot faster mill. We're actually looking at getting a Haas VF4 and start doing some of that milling here. That'll be later this summer. So we'll probably have another mill sitting here next year. Behind us here, there's where Eric works on the weekends. He's building all the conveyors. It's nice to get the conveyors done on the weekends because they're so long. And you have to make sure you have a clear runway getting in and out. So it's nice having that all done on the weekends. During the week, we'll actually use this bay for assembling Rami and any of the import stuff. So it kind of, that cell right there kind of switches back and forth. So, but Eric does right now he's working on a 32 footer and he's got the 5-horse Honda on there, 6-horse Honda on that machine. And then he'll start doing all the assembly of the hydraulics on the lower half, and then he'll bring in the upper half of the conveyor and start doing the assembly and then marry the two together. So these machines here are all ready for QC. Looks like the orange machine back here where we're just waiting on some new panels to come in from powder coat, and it looks like they got a little bit more assembly there, but the rest of these machines here are ready for QC. So basically we do all the assembly over there, and then before they ship out and go outside, they'll get over here to get staged and checked over for leaks or anything like that, do test runs on them. So then we have this little packaging cell here, like all of our FBS, the firewood bag stations, the express wrappers, all that stuff get packaged up on that big table. And we keep all of all the stuff we're going to ship out, all the packaged items, will go on these shelves right around this area, real close to shipping and that packaging area. So you see all these crates here. A lot of these are conveyor chains. These big crates here, they got engines in them. There's these are GX 390s, and there's 16 of them. Those are pull start GX 390s. So there's 16 Honda engines in that crate. And you see there's more crates up above there. We normally have probably 100 engines on hand, and then we order like every 3 weeks at a time or a month at a time. So
Nice, at least you got heat on.
yeah. All right, so this is the main assembly area, and you see we got one of our popular models here, a 28C, I think. Yep, 28C. This is probably one of our most popular models. Normally we'll have 2 guys working on the compacts at all times, and then 1 person working on high outputs, 1 person working on the VSs all the time. So lately we've had to kind of change up the mix a little bit. So we got 2 guys working on high outputs, 1 on the VSs, and 1 guy on the compacts. And I don't know if you noticed all the frames in the front parking lot, that's our assembly backlog right now. So, but yeah, the guys have these lift tables so you can move the machines up and down. You're not having to crawl on the ground like I used to, putting these machines together. So makes it nice being able to have it at a decent height to work on, say, and putting the engines on, having that to where you can just like take it off the cart and just set it on the machine at waist height, not have to bend over. Just like using the wood splitters, you want to make it easier on the body if you can. So these tables all can handle 3,000 pounds a piece, up, move up and down, and they'll go up to about probably waist high. So but then when the machine's done, got the wheels on them, they can lower that table down and roll the machines over to get filled up with hydraulic oil. And then they'll do all their test runs, and everything gets checked twice. So the operator, the assembly guy, is going to physically run the machine, check them for leaks, and then also the QC guy is going to do the same thing over again. So that's how we make sure we have a good product going out the door. Yeah, the 28C, I think we do probably, I would say 60% of the machines are based on the same chassis. And then maybe 20% of the machines are the high outputs, and then the other 20% VSs. So this has always been a super popular size machine. This here is a cardboard baler. We had so much cardboard coming out, like all the Honda crates are cardboard. So we'd have all these crates and boxes that we'd have to get rid of, and we were paying like $1,000 a month to get rid of cardboard. Well, the company that loaned us this machine, they recycle the cardboard, and they basically, here, take this baler and we'll just come pick up your cardboard. So worked out great. So we bale it up and then set it outside. They come by with a grapple truck and they load up the bales. It works out perfect. So, but this machine here saves us about $1,000 a month in cardboard. So upstairs we have some offices, and we keep a lot of the you see the green, yellow, and red bins. Those are all parts for the Rammies, Yappas, and fuel woods. We have them color coded up there. So all the small pieces up there. Mike, David, and Ben all have offices upstairs. So engineering and sales guys have offices up there. You can hear back in the corner our air compressors running. That's our screw drive compressor. Basically a lot of part storage up there, and then all of our main offices are in the lower section. So then of course everything gets shipped out over by the loading docks or out the back door. UPS comes in with a semi truck just about nowadays with all the packages we send out. I think that we probably process now about 30 to 40 packages a day, and sometimes it'll be pallets full of FBSs going out. Like say if we're waiting on a part for an FBS and it gets, kind of bogs down the system, we'll end up having basically setting pallets of FBSs by the door with labels on them. So it's been really really fun to see how fast all that packaging stuff is going. The fire rings and everything also taken off too. So I think that's pretty much the tour. I'm sure there's